St. Thomas University Journalism present The Basement File.
Hi there. Today we're at the Fredericton Convention Center. We've got a great show ahead for you. I'm Cody Peters.
I'm Mitchell Pearden.
And I'm Natalie Sturgeon. Here are a few of our top stories.
Fredericton transit workers prepare for a strike.
Police face scrutiny from the public.
And Crime Stoppers gets an award for their fight against crime.
Talks between the City of Fredericton and the union representing the city's bus drivers have stalled. Both sides are now in legal strike position, but uncertainty around job action is causing concerns. Nathan DeLong reports.
It's been business as usual for bus service in Fredericton recently, but that could soon change. An attempt at mediation between the city and its transit workers on January 12th was unsuccessful. Members of the union representing the bus drivers voted down the city's final offer a few days earlier. The transit workers also voted in favor of a strike. There hasn't been any job action yet, but several people are concerned about the status of the transit network. Many of those who are worried are students. First-year St. Thomas student Paige Grace takes the bus to campus from several blocks away.
It's concerning to me because I know that as a student it inconveniences me, but I also know it inconveniences other people in more ways. I have a friend that goes here to St. Thomas that works at the mall, and she depends on the bus to get back and forth to work and to school. And, you know, it's important to people to be able to get to work because they need to work.
Third-year St. Thomas student Jeremy Keats depends on the bus to get from downtown Fredericton to campus.
Honestly, I don't know, the idea that I'd have to walk to school every day in the freezing cold of January and February, that's miserable. I'd have to get up an extra hour early and then walk up the hill and maybe get Safe Ride back, because Safe Ride doesn't take you from your house to the school.
No.
So I'm stranded, unless I'm going cab.
The uncertainty of the situation has people considering alternative ways to get from point A to B. There's even talk of helping others do the same. The St. Thomas Students' Union looks to do just that. Megan Thompson is the student union president.
And all of which we'll probably follow through with in some capacity. The first is we are looking for students to be creative about the way that they would get to school. First and foremost, we're asking students to dress for the weather, dress appropriately, and walk maybe a little bit further than they would usually be willing. Second, we are offering financial incentives for students to carpool. We know that a lot of students do have vehicles, but a lot of students who have vehicles don't fill their vehicles all the way on the way to school. So if students do drive to school, they drive from far away, they usually pass through an area in the city, maybe an area where another student might need a ride.
Bus drivers in Fredericton currently make $22 per hour. They're looking to be paid closer to what drivers in Moncton and St. John make. The city has offered wage increases of 1.75% per year for the first 3 years. Then wages would go up 2.5% in the last 2 years of the deal. The city has also offered increased benefits.
Our attempts to contact both the city and the union were unsuccessful. However, the union says it's preparing its members for a strike, which could take several days. The union also has to provide the city with 24 hours notice if it plans to strike, which it says it's not going to do just yet. For St. Thomas Journalism, I'm Nathan DeLong.
From one service shutting down to one starting up, a local pawn shop has put down new routes on the north side, hoping for more customers as well as different and unique merchandise. With a spin on the environment, it could be Fredericton's newest hit. Catherine Morehouse has the story.
Southside pawn shop Digital World has become a household name since opening in Fredericton in 1998. The shop sells used movies, video games, CDs, computers, musical instruments, and more at a discounted price. This past December, Digital World owner Trevor Rivet decided to open a new branch of his pawn shop on the north side. With the new branch came a new name, Evergreen Traders.
When we wanted to expand, and there's not any place to expand in the mall on the south side, and we realized 40% of our existing customers already lived on the north side, so it just made sense to come here.
While Digital World sells mostly electronics, Rivet doesn't want Evergreen Traders to be labeled as a specialty store.
So we were looking for a name that just described general buying and selling. We like the Evergreen name because we like to kind of emphasize the idea that it's sort of green to recycle used goods instead of consuming new goods.
The new store has a variety of items for sale, like vintage toys, band t-shirts, TVs, DVDs, games, and even a few new items like Superman socks, Deadpool wallets, and Pokemon scarves. Their most popular product is jewelry, where they sell anything from pawned gold and silver to locally handmade jewelry. So far, Rivet's loyal customers from Digital World have been giving the new store a try, and they like what they see. Brandon Lord and his girlfriend visit the store at least twice a week to check for any new or interesting items to buy.
I usually buy whatever South Park seasons I can find, or the latest deal on awesome TVs that we can get, or consoles, or anything at all electronics.
Recently we got a TV.
Yeah, we got a 50-inch TV for $300, and it looks pretty beautiful on in our bedroom. So.
Evergreen Traders is planning for more Northside customers to become regulars and hopefully bring in interesting and rare items to pawn. With the way things are going, it looks like Fredericton may have a new pawn that could become king. For Stu Journalism, I'm Catherine Morehouse.
Crime has declined in New Brunswick, according to Stats Canada. The province has some of the country's lowest rates of crime severity and the second lowest rate of robberies. Danielle Elliott was on the scene to tell us how the government and Crime Stoppers feel we could do more.
January is Crime Stoppers Month here in New Brunswick. The legislature's declaration was made to draw attention to the program and encourage volunteers to participate. In 2015, the program won 4 awards during the international conference. But the province's chapter says they've experienced large amounts of consistent success every year since its founding. Sergeant Tammy Ward of the RCMP is NB Crime Stoppers Provincial Police Coordinator. She looks forward to what the future holds in store for Crime Stoppers.
Just met with the SPCA just to work on our partnership in terms of how we can support each other and anything that we can do to help them. So that's my main goal, is just to increase our partnerships and continue to grow the program and work at getting more community and business support involved as well.
Ward says their methods are so successful because, unlike police reports, they allow community members privacy when providing information. Tips are forwarded to the RCMP and callers can remain anonymous, removing any fear of retribution. Ward says the stats speak for themselves. But not everyone is so certain of Crime Stoppers' relevance in the digital age.
And like I said, I'm not 100% sure what goes into it, but if there's any, I know it's a charitable organization, but if a lot of money goes into it, or manpower for that matter, I do think it's kind of pointless, because you don't hear about it anymore. Like, I remember, especially back in the early 90s days, like, you could be at the arcade and see signs all over the place, and TV advertisements were huge for Crime Stoppers. Nowadays, not so much, especially with digital cable.
Some have argued that community groups, such as those on Facebook and Twitter, could in the future replace Crime Stoppers. After all, these services are free to use, and people can share tips with the click of a button from their own living rooms. However, some express concern that this could result in vigilantism. People taking matters into their own hands could result in confrontations and personal danger. However, Crime Stoppers is also a service that's free to use, that's operated on community donations and volunteers. For St. Thomas Journalism, I'm Danielle Elliott.
Safe Harbor, a youth housing facility in St. John, may be shutting down. It is set to close at the end of January. The house is a 10-bed emergency housing facility that has operated near or at capacity since its 3rd week of operations. The facility's lack of funding has made operations impossible. The staff have been notified and layoffs have been issued. Alternative housing arrangements have been made for those who rely on the facility. The board of directors says the closure is a disappointment. However, they are hopeful that it will reopen in the future.
Fredericton police are under heavy scrutiny this month. The people in New Brunswick are losing confidence in local law enforcement. Many officers are being fired for bad behavior such as theft and crimes such as manslaughter. Sean Goff has the story.
All over New Brunswick, law enforcement is facing criticism from the media and public. This is because of so many officers being suspended or fired. There are 16 either fired or suspended in New Brunswick. In December, 4 members of the Woodstock RCMP alone were suspended. In Fredericton, Constable Cherie Campbell was fired for shoplifting in Holton, Maine, and now Chief Leanne Fitch is under fire as Campbell appeals the decision for her termination. Campbell was fired, but the courts did not come to an innocent or guilty verdict. 2 other Fredericton officers were also criminally charged this January. Corporal Lou Lafleur was charged with impaired driving, and Sergeant Tim Sowers was charged with uttering threats. St. Thomas University policing expert Sean Savago says that in the past, police forces were discreet about incidents, but some forces may now take a more transparent approach.
It appears to be, again, one way to read this would be that a chief like Chief Fitch in Fredericton has decided to take a more public, bolder approach and deal with issues involving the officers of the force head-on, boldly, publicly.
While more than one police force is under heat, Frederictonians were still shocked to hear about the firing of Fredericton's Constable Campbell.
You would think that somebody who is a police officer would be held to a higher, like, you would expect them to at least obey the law.
I don't know, it's hard to do a blanket statement of one person does something bad, so everyone's bad. So, I don't know, you definitely think twice before kind of giving complete trust in anyone, I guess.
You know, even though that they are a force together, there are individuals within the force, so I can't say that that completely sways my entire opinion of the entire law enforcement just because of that one instance.
Sure. Everything's too public today. Yeah, and it's painful for her and for her family and whatever, demoralizing, and I don't want to be somebody's judge.
Dr. Savageau also mentioned that though there is a lengthy process when training officers, additional steps may need to be taken in the hiring process to avoid complications.
And then recruit them, hire, because between recruitment and hiring are two different things. People first go to a police academy of one type or another, and then out of this academy, police forces hire a number of them. So how you recruit, how you hire people, who you hire, in what conditions, there needs to be some major overhaul.
St. Thomas University communications professor Jamie Gillies touched on how social media also affects the ways that law enforcement must act in our day and age.
Around the world is simply that in an era of social media, it is such a concern that local police forces or something like the RCMP members be above reproach. So anytime that they are found in violation of the law or they're suspended or there's concerns, this gets amplified in the media. And so I think they have to start thinking collectively, law enforcement entirely collectively, about different kinds of better communications tools.
While law enforcement in New Brunswick will be facing some tough decisions in the coming months, everyone I talked to said that officers need to be held accountable and transparency is welcome for the most part. For St. Thomas Journalism, I'm Sean Goff.
Storm weather has some people concerned too, as hard weather hits Fredericton, and that could affect local businesses. After record-breaking temperatures in December, winter has finally come to the city. Downtown Fredericton is a hot spot for local shops and generates lots of walk-in customers. But how does the cold weather impact these businesses? Jordan Mead Baxter has the answer.
January is known for its low temperatures and snowstorms. So far, there has been just that. But as the weather gets colder, people are deciding to stay inside. This means less people are wandering the streets of downtown Fredericton. Katie Oblinas is a student at the New Brunswick College of Craft and Design. Though she spends a lot of time downtown, she tends to stay inside her school. She says that downtown has gotten quieter due to the cold.
Yeah, definitely, especially compared to the summer. In the summer, it's really bustling, and right now it's not.
Jared Jardine and his friends were hanging out at the Clay Cafe this weekend. It was day 2, but their initial idea was out of the blue. Jardine says in the summer he likes to spend a lot of time downtown. Not so much in the winter.
Not this time of year, but in the summertime, yeah, I like to come downtown, check out all those small businesses and see what people have to offer and stuff.
Carrie Buckingham, Jordan McAdam, and Brittany Gallant were at Unplugged, a board games cafe this weekend too. They said though they don't wander around too much, the comfort of being inside is what draws them into Unplugged.
Somewhere like this is like good in the winter though because it's like warm inside. So rather than just walking around outside in the summer, like in the winter, I would sooner come inside for the board games.
Yeah, but definitely. Being here in the summer, it's like packed down here, and it's a lot emptier now. But I mean, being inside is really nice. So instead of just walking downtown and enjoying the sights, you huddle places. So they got to get some business that way.
Travis Grant is one of the owners of Unplugged. He said that the winter has actually been beneficial to the company. People are looking for things to do and a place to gather with their friends. Grant says Unplugged fills that slot.
One thing that I've observed when it gets colder out is there is a lot less general foot traffic. So if you were to poke your head outside right now and look around, there's not a lot of people walking around. So the interesting thing for us, particularly at Unplugged, is people are specifically coming here. They're not just wandering around downtown and going, where do I go? They're coming for Unplugged. So I can see where the colder months would be harder on certain businesses. But for ours, like I said, we're doing pretty good.
McTavish's source for sports benefits from the cold weather. They're mainly a hockey store, so winter turns into their busiest time of year. Rob Wheel is one of the managers at McTavish's. He says that as long as the weather stays cold and not too much snow, their business does well.
I wouldn't say it would affect us negatively. If anything, it might actually help us a little bit, whereas, after Christmas especially, people are looking to get on the outdoor rinks and that type of thing. And for us, you have your hockey customers, but then you also have your just recreational skaters and stuff like that. So you sell a lot more skates for that type of person after Christmas. So, you needed to be at least a little bit cold for sure.
Despite the stormy weather and the cold, the quietness of downtown doesn't stop shoppers and hobbyists from doing what they love. For St. Thomas Journalism, I'm Jordan Meade Baxter.
The record temperatures did come to an end, leaving lots of snow in the city. Not one, but 2 storms hit Fredericton in the past week. The first storm on Wednesday lasted almost all day and dumped 23 centimeters of snow, leaving almost the whole city shut down. Schools, universities, stores, and even government buildings were closed. Public transit was taken off the road for the day. The second storm Saturday afternoon was mild in comparison, leaving only 5 centimeters of snow and avoiding the predicted freezing rain. Roads were clear by the evening, and some diligent snow lovers got out to play. So far, winter snowfall has been minimal in the province. Last year, over 400 centimeters of snow hit New Brunswick. St. John had a pile of snow at the end of June.
Coming in from the cold, St. Thomas University's women's volleyball team defeated Mount Allison University in their most recent home game. 3 close sets between both teams left St. Thomas with a score of 3-0. This leaves St. Thomas with a 5-win, 5-loss standing. St. Thomas's top players were Jeja Jones, Laura McDonald, and Jen Russell. St. Thomas' next game is at Dalhousie Agricultural College.
That's it for us here at the Basement Files.
Check out our latest news at our website.
Keep warm, Fredericton.